Welcome to the Be Better Show. I'm your host, Christian Castañeda. Thank you for tuning in, for watching this conversation. Truly means the world to me because I know you could be doing anything else. I don't have a huge following, so the fact that you're watching means the world to me. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a good friend of mine, someone I highly respect. His name is Joseph, wait for it, middle name, King. That's like the coolest middle name ever. Joseph King Barkley. And we discuss a few things in the first episode. It's a two-part series. And he talks about character and him coming from a musician, working in Hollywood, how character takes you further. And then I talk a little bit about accountability and how technology has like a bad rap. But in many ways, accountability comes through technology because of video cameras. And we've all noticed how things have escalated in society and culture. And in the past, that didn't exist. When I grew up, I didn't grow up with our cell phones having video cameras, and how that's a good thing today. And anyway, we get into it further. I really hope you enjoy our conversation. If you have any questions, or please leave any comments, would mean the world to me. Enjoy. I have a very special guest, Joseph King Barkley, a good friend of mine. And Joseph, what do I got to do to get one of those cool middle names? How'd you get King as a middle name, bro?
Well, I inherited it. It was a family name. So I don't know if somewhere back in the day there was a King Barkley, but it got my great grandfather, whose name is Ivan King Barkley. Wait, that's the coolest name. Ivan King Barkley came over from Scotland. His son Edwin King Barkley is my grandfather. His son Randy King Barkley is my dad.
Wow.
And then Joseph King Barkley is me. And then I don't have any sons, and my wife did not agree to give our daughters the middle name of King. So it stops with me. No more Kings after me.
You don't have a brother?
I don't. No, I've got two sisters.
So it literally stopped with you. Wow, man, that's
This is
crazy.
it, man. I just, yeah, I
How'd you find all that
couldn't
out?
afford.
Did you do the whole lineage thing? What do they call it?
Yeah, like ancestry stuff,
Yeah, the
like the
ancestry.
family tree and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I knew, obviously I knew my name and my dad's name at some point. I figured out, but then I was always interested in the family that I came from. So from a very young age, I remember uh, asking a lot of questions about what life was like when my parents were kids, and about my grandparents, my great grandparents. And both of my parents came from, well, my dad particularly came from a homesteading family, ranches in South Dakota. And that just like, I was born in Long Beach, California. So that's such a foreign lifestyle to me. So I just started, interrogating my dad. My grandfather passed away a year before I was born, so I never got a chance to meet my dad's dad. So I just wanted to know everything they'd tell me. And that included figuring out, like, where did these names come from?
Right.
And so prior to my it might go back further than Ivan, my great grandfather, but I've not done the homework to figure out if it
But he has the
has.
coolest name already, so
Ivan
you could just
King
stop.
Barkley.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's amazing. That's a guy you don't want to mess with, man.
Right. Right.
So, but
So,
me, it's Joseph. And when I was growing up, people call me Joe. So it's joking Barkley, like I'm just joking. And so that's what the kids would say to make fun of me. It could be worse. That's not so
yeah,
bad.
that's
As
not
a
so bad. A
kids
lot of
picking on
people
your
don't
playground.
know my so in Mexico, I was born in Mexico. In Mexico, you keep both last names, father and mother's maiden name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my full name is Christian, no middle name, Castañeda Moran. But when I came to the
Moran.
States, people didn't know how to say Moran. So this happened even as an adult. They would call me, is Mr. Moron home? Is Mr. Moron here?
Oh, no.
I'm like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. So when I
No.
became a citizen, I took the whole name. It's just Christian Castañeda. That's it.
Castaneda, which is a great name. Christian Castaneda is a spectacular name by itself.
Hated
But
writing as a kid. It's very long.
now, is your wife from Mexico? She's not, is she?
Her family is she's born here.
She was born
She's
here.
first generation here.
When you guys got married, what happened with the names there?
That's a funny story. She still has not changed her last name.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if you figured out some other deal.
She's still using her maiden name, her dad's last name.
That's cool.
And she
Yeah.
says her reason, I won't call it an excuse, her reason is that she is too lazy to go down to the Social Security office and do all the changes.
I mean, it's quite a process.
It's been we just celebrated 19 years together, 15 years married.
Oh, that's
Uh,
amazing.
so
So you'd
it's
think over
working.
15 years, maybe she could find the time, but who cares? At this
I
point,
I told her
locked
at
in.
30 you can't use that excuse anymore. You got 15 years to use that.
That's good. She's halfway. It's got an expiration date. Yeah, anyway, that's where my name came from.
That's cool,
I've
man.
never wanted to change it. I did for a while want to go by Ace as my first name.
Ace.
Well, I grew up, I was a child of the 80s, and Top Gun was such a big deal. 1986, that movie came out, and everybody had a pilot name, Maverick, Iceman. And so I chose my own pilot
You
name,
went
even though
your
I
own
wanted to be a
way. You
pilot.
still want to be a part of the whole crew, but you
But
wanted your own.
yeah, exactly. So then I remember going to seventh grade, and I introduced myself to everybody as Ace, and trying to make it stick. And it didn't last a day. Everybody's like, what? Them calling roll in class, and I'm like, your name's not Ace. You called me a moron.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So tell the audience a little bit about yourself, man. We got the king part. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. Well, there's not much else to tell, but I'll do my best. So, yeah, born in Long Beach, but I was raised in Riverside. So that's Inland Empire, where my folks still are. And I thought I was going to be in business because that's what my dad is in. My dad's in finance. And I went to college for that. I got a degree in business. But while I was at college, I picked up a guitar, fell in love with it, played it a lot, like a whole lot. My grades suffered, but by the end of college, I had a record contract. And then I spent the next, I don't know, 10, 12 years of my life as a career musician. Like I paid the bills and everything.
Wow.
Um, met my wife a few years out of college, and she married a musician. She loved that lifestyle. We both love the arts in every form. We love filmmaking and storytelling and poetry and music. And I thought that was going to be my career. And when we wanted to have kids, we all decided that I would not tour. So I started writing songs for television and film, which I was thankful to have a lot of opportunities to do that. And it was even more lucrative than touring. Plus, I got to be home. So that was pretty great. And we got involved in a local church. We're Jesus followers. And that's always been an important part of nurturing our faith, is to nurture our relationship with other Jesus followers. And so we got really involved in a church in Hollywood, because that's where a lot of my musician friends lived. And I wanted to go to a place where I could also invite people to go with me. And we found this great church, met a few people, and ended up starting. It was kind of within a traditional environment. And so a few of us wanted to start something that was really a church for people who may not feel like they would be welcomed in a traditional environment, even though they would be. Um, but the language was a little confusing for them. And certainly a lot of the rituals seemed very foreign and strange to them. So we started a little church. My wife and I got to be involved in that, starting a church in Hollywood. Meanwhile, I've got a job doing the music thing for TV. But while I was there, I had a chance to teach, which I had never done before. But it was like one of the beautiful things about small communities is a lot of times people have opportunities to do things that you wouldn't if the structure was bigger, and there was more of a clear path. And there's good things about that as well, like the accountability with all that, and some of the development. But I had an opportunity to teach. And then, making a long part of my story very short, we believe God actually used that to get our attention and change the course of our lives. And there came a point where I left music for good, and I became a pastor in Los Angeles. And then, as we record this, it'd be 6.5 years ago, we
Oh,
started a church with me as the pastor, in a neighborhood called North Hollywood in Los Angeles. And so that church is called Radius. And now I'm a pastor, which my wife did not marry a pastor. But we still love the arts, and more importantly, we love artists, and so it's a huge part of our lives. But I love being able to serve them rather than um, merely performing alongside them. I don't mind performing. I haven't done that in a long time, but I do love performing. I respect the craft of performing, but I just love serving artists.
Yeah.
So that's my life's work, man. I hope that was concise enough, but that's my
That's
story.
good. That's good. I have questions for you. So, because
Yeah.
I have a younger following as well, a
Hmm.
good mix. I know for my family story with my wife specifically, it's not normal to get into Hollywood. Um,
Right.
was that challenging? Did you like, I know this is the goal, or this is it. That's all I want to do, or was it just some kind of fluke and you got in and you ran with your opportunity?
Yeah. No, I was drawn to the community first. It's what I did. I imagine there's other industries that would draw you to other areas of the world.
But you believed you could get in?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like I was sitting at a Starbucks and somebody spotted me and said, "Hey, you look like you've got something special. Let me give you a record deal." Um, I diligently worked hard and tried to establish relationships with people and leverage, um, and so yeah, it was done through hard work and relationship, and quite frankly, especially for some of your listeners or your viewers, I cannot stress this enough. One of the most standout things, even within the entertainment industry, is integrity.
Mm.
That if you build a reputation of being somebody who's not only compassionate and kind, that's huge, but somebody who does what they say they're going to do, you will put yourself into a very rare category of people. And I don't believe in karma. I've lived too much life to believe that every time you do good things are going to happen to you. Um, but I do believe that there is a lot of great results that happen when you invest in your character and you
Mm.
invest in the integrity with which you treat people, keep your promises, honor people. I do think that those things pay off. So that was a
Now,
huge part of it.
we're not young bucks anymore. Do you think that that's applicable in outside of Hollywood as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not just an opinion. I certainly see examples of it where, and it could be everything from like, listen, everybody knows that there are some really creepy people who get a whole lot of power and prestige. But we certainly also see enough examples of those people being found out. And we live in an age when it's easier. I think we live in an overly paranoid age where people are being um, held accountable for things they've done years ago. They might be at a totally different place in life. But that said, is uh, I want to be able to stand, and I think we've seen this, you know, uh, around us in the communities around us. I do think that it's incredibly valuable for people to be able to say, listen, whatever accusations you throw at me, I know what is true of me,
Hmm.
and my reputation is fairly bulletproof. That doesn't mean people can accuse you of
Perfect.
stuff, of
Right.
course, but so whatever progress you make in life, whatever progress you make in your career, you do not want to capsize that with a lack of integrity. So however far you're going to get, however much money you want to make, or whatever that is, however, if you want to get married, build a relationship there. Whatever happens in your life, it would be in a heartbeat. That whole thing could be, you could destroy it with a lack of character.
I
And so
find it
I do think
right
it's
now it's
survival.
so easy. Um, I think stuff like the internet, social media has a double-edged sword. There's so much
Mm,
bad, but so much good
yeah,
on both sides. Where I think what's interesting about, I'm very hopeful about the next generation. I know there's a lot of
yeah,
people that look down on the next generation because maybe they don't work with their hands. Like I grew up working construction. I
yeah,
believe that's part of your story too. You grew
yep,
up in
yep.
construction. But what's fascinating is how they're willing to hold people accountable. And it's
Mm,
so easy to do that now because if you really want to try something that's shady, we're going to record this and the whole world's going to see it. So that accountability is something that I didn't have growing up. You know, my generation
Yeah,
didn't.
not like this.
The stuff that's happened to me on the racial side of the injustice, because of being a minority, I didn't have a phone to record it when it happened to me. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's different, where the accountability is now. Obviously, there's an extreme as well where people are getting canceled for something that there's no a room for the apology or for that person to get to
Right.
make that right. So obviously there's extremes, but the point of the accountability with social media is so fascinating to me, because we can't get away if you really the character is really reflecting of what's on the inside. We need to put our ducks in a row and say, what do I need to work on so that I'm treating people correctly. I'm
Mhm.
being respectful. I think the hardest part about be better is when people don't have empathy.
Mm,
I've noticed that when people don't have empathy, there's no room for them to explore. Is there room for me to be better? Is that even
mm,
possible?
mm.
And the be better concept isn't to like shame someone. The be better is that there's no perfect person,
Right.
period. And so I
No.
know I need, there's room for me to grow. There's room for me to be better. And if I'm willing to pause and evaluate to see who I'm hurting or what I need to do better in my life, I think that accountability is so transparent now with where we're at with technology.
Well, you bring up a couple of phenomenal points. And I would also say that part of being better is to give other people the grace to be better. You
Mm-hmm.
know, to your point of we could overplay this, are we giving people uh, the, I don't even know if the benefit of the doubt, not everybody deserves that, but rather to say, can I give them space uh, to make adjustments and to learn and to be curious and to I think that one of the challenges right now is that people are condemned based on a trigger, and I use that word carefully because I know that means something very, very real psychologically and emotionally for some people. But I do think that whether it's a word that they say or something that they wear or a place that they go, we end up filling out a whole profile on that person based on a couple of actions. And rather than investigate the substance behind it, so someone may say something that appears, you name it, racist, but that person doesn't actually believe that this race is less valuable than another race. But they might need to learn some things. There might
Mm-hmm.
be some ignorance they have that's creating that impression. And so I want to be somebody who gives people a lot of space in my life to keep growing, to
Yeah.
keep trying, to keep failing. And they know that they can experience forgiveness and another chance and
I
my
was
own vulnerability.
I was trying to find a word because you have two words that the opposite, like the yin and yang concept. It's optimism and pessimistic. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm pessimistic, and I don't think I'm optimistic. I think I'm hope optimistic. It's a word I had to make up
Oh, I love that.
because
Did you make
I
that
can't.
up?
Yeah, I had to figure something out for
Optimistic?
me, like because I'm not optimistic. I'm not the rainbow guy and everything's fine. I'm not that guy. I'm not condemning everybody, so I'm not pessimistic about everything coming towards me. But there has to be room for hope. So the way I get
Optimist. Did you
optimist,
reserve that domain name
I gotta
already?
do it. Huh? I
You do it
haven't.
right now. Before this episode comes out, reserve
Optimist.
hoptimist.com. I won't steal it from you. That's so good.
I think it's truth and hope. If you can figure that part in
Yes.
your whatever's in front of you, and not everything is ignites something in you. There's
Mm,
something that ignites passion, and then passion, if not carefully worked out, can go
mm-hmm,
towards something bad, like hurting
mm-hmm.
people. I think passion, if something's going wrong and it doesn't bother you, you need to look inside why it's not bothering you. But
Yeah.
if it's something that it's just something you're working out, where's the truth? And then where's the hope? And if you can figure, I don't think it's a system or a method that will work out, but I think those two feelings can get us very far in our community, or just how I personally feel. Can I sleep at night peacefully, knowing what the truth is, and the hope gives me at least a plan. How do I
Mm-hmm,
move forward from this?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I do need to coin that.
I'm telling you
Hope.
before you release this episode, because someone's going to snag it, unless it's already done. I'm not going to look it up though. It's all yours. Hopetimist or
Optimistic.
Hopetimistic. You could. There's a couple of variations that'll help you find your domain. I love it.
Hey, so if you watched the whole episode, you're amazing. Thank you, thank you. Like I said earlier, I don't have a huge following, and the fact that you stuck it out and listen, I really do hope that this content helped you in some way, shape, or form. That's how we get better. And so thank you so much again. And if you have any questions or you would love to leave a comment, means the world to me. And stay tuned for part 2, be coming up probably next week. Thanks again.